So I want to talk about Victor Wembanyama's rise to the throne here for a second, right? Started 2024, Paris. He almost beats LeBron, Curry, and KD, and the new dream team, right? On his home court, and Rudy Gobert is benched, and he's taking his spot, and he's carrying the team at 20 years old, almost 19, right? In this Cinderella fashion. And I think it kind of that it doesn't get a bigger moment than that when you're in front of your country trying to win a title. So I think he's built for these big moments, right? Then you get to this season, Spurs are done tanking, right? I thought they were going to take another season, maybe, right? Maybe try to rebuild, get another piece in the draft, but no, they make the move for Fox. Harper's better than we thought. They probably saw him in camp and knew, okay, we're going to go for it this year. Then Wemby takes a leap, and everyone kind of thought Spurs are going to be 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed. No, 2 seed, right? Move the timetable up even more. People kind of talking about the Thunder early in the season, right? They're going to 73-9 Warriors, what this and that. Then they lose to the Spurs 3 times, right? 3 times in a row. Shuts that down. Wemby establishes himself, right? He takes on that challenge, right? He sees the biggest dog in the yard. He wants to stomp them out. Then you go All-Star game this season. One of my favorite moments. No one's expecting it to be a serious game, right? Wemby comes out. Anthony Edwards even said it himself. Wemby sets the tone, right? Wemby said, if you guys aren't going to play, then I'm going to dominate. And that's just how, and that might be how the rest of the league's going to go. Like, guys have to, he's forcing the league to step their play up because of how good he is, because of how dominant he is. And you kind of go through that arc of him almost embracing his villain arc, right? Guys don't like to try at the All-Star game normally, players, right? They like to have they like to have their things their way. They have, certain things. He comes in, he likes to, I am the guy. We're gonna do things this way. Right? He's training with monks in the off season. He's training with Hakeem, Kevin Garnett. Right? So this is still the same arc. It's kind of interesting just to see him grow. And then almost he goes from that villain arc, that new guy on the scene, to kind of this beloved hero because the Thunder and SGA have become so hated by the league. And you look at Wembanyama's effect on this series compared to Shea, I don't think it's close. Wembanyama's been the best player in the league with the two in the series, with the 2-time MVP in the series. Right? I mean, in game 1, got some stats here. Wembanyama was plus 16, and Spurs were -9 when he was off the court. So that's 25-point difference. MVP level, Jokic level. Then you got game 4, last game. He was plus 29, and they were -8 when he was off the floor. 37-point swing. That's like alien level. Okay, so then you look at just the fact he won the Defensive Player of the Year. Should have won last year, 2 years in a row. I think we should just, there's no more Wemby's growing. Wemby's on his way. Wemby's here. He's the best player in the league. And I think the Spurs, moving on, talk about the Spurs now. I think they've established themselves as on the same level as the Thunder, whether or not they win the series. I think, and they definitely have the best situation in the league. I mean, they have Castle's 21, Wemby's 22, Harper's 20, and Harper looks just as good as Flag. I just think if you asked all 30 GMs right now, they would pick the Spurs as the best situation in the league, mainly because Wembanyama, but because of their youth, because of the second apron rules that don't allow you to to sign a bunch of free agents, right, without restriction, trade in, bring in big salaries. Because of the new lottery rules that are now restricting teams from drafting 3 times in a row in the top 5, right? Like the Spurs did to build this team, right? Stephon Castle fourth, Harper second, Wemby first. Like that's crazy to me. They built this team and now they're changing the rules. That's a little and I don't know what I don't know what you're gonna do about it, but they have the best situation in the league. Maybe after the Spurs win 3 out of the next 5 championships, the league will take a look at it. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a look at Game 4. And yeah, I think everyone saw the biggest difference in Game 4 was the refs weren't calling Sga'S fouls, right? I think Shea fell 25 times in that game and got 6 foul calls, right? And had 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers, minus 18 on the game. Only took 15 shots. That's not great. Stephon Castle was allowed to push him the whole game. Off ball, he was holding on to him. Right? He was hanging on him. Wouldn't really let him get involved. I actually thought his usage rate would be higher this game because no AJ Mitchell, no J Dub. I thought the issue would be they would rely on him too much. His usage rate was lower in this game. Right? I think part of that is because he was tired. Stephon Castle was leaning on him, holding him, and it had an effect on him. And then you'd see him start to complain, and Chet start to complain, and as he starts to complain, the whole team starts to it builds up and just went downhill for the Thunder. But I expect them to get more calls when he goes home, right? When they go back to OKC, he'll get more calls. Well, it'll be interesting, right? Because I do think the narratives, I don't like to say, but the narratives, and there is some truth there that he's flawed. I mean, you can see him falling every time. But the narratives of he's a foul baiter, you hear the crowd, San Antonio chanting, flop, or like I think it starts to get in the refs' heads also. And, they don't want to call it. So you definitely felt it that game. I enjoyed watching them not call it. It's as people say, unethical hoops. So I see it not getting rewarded. But another problem for the Thunder, beyond just being reliant on SGA and them getting to double team him. I mean, actually, for like the double teams, they're so effective because there's no real secondary playmakers right now for the Thunder. I mean, when he kicks it out, when Shea kicks it out off a double team or a drive, like it's really for a shot or for a play finisher. Like they can help late in the shot clock, which is what they're doing now. They were doubling like the Lakers were. The Lakers were doubling early in the shot clock. Spurs were doubling early in the shot clock, games 1 and 2, even 2 and 3. SGA was just able to pass out of it to make a pass to get an open shot. Without AJ Mitchell, without J Dub, they're not doubling early. They're waiting until he goes to his step back, till he goes to his turnaround. When he turns around, the weak side double comes. You can't see it. He passes out of it. It's late in the shot clock. They're getting a lot of tips, throwing the Thunder off their game. Other thing that makes it tough is partly because you have the deep defensive player of the year and the alien on the other side. When Wemby'S on the floor, the only shots available are jump shots and free throws. And the Thunder shot 6 for 33 from the 3. So you're just not going to win. And it's crazy to say that about the Thunder, but that's just how good Wemby'S is. That you could have a team where you have the back-to-back MVP and they need to shoot, 35% or 30% at least to have a chance to win the game. That's crazy. That's how good the other guy is. Other thing Thunder are struggling with, they have to get easy buckets in transition. Like if you're not hitting threes against Wembanyama, you got to get layups in transition. You got to get dunks out early. You got to force Stephon Castle to get 10, 11 turnovers again. Right? And since Fox came back, right, San Antonio took care of the ball game 4. 13 turnovers for San Antonio versus 20 for OKC. That never happens. OKC almost never loses a turnover battle. Steph Castle had 1 turnover, 6 assists, right? If Steph Castle is going to outplay SGA, the series is over, right? That's pretty much it. Steph Castle, interesting that. Steph Castle usage rate 25% game 1 and 2, went down to 16% game 4, and he actually played better. Because they don't need him to bring the ball up the court, to fuck up, to play reckless. They just need him in spurts, play physical, get and ones, play in the pick and roll with Wemby, throw him lobs. And then the other thing the Thunder got to figure out is those injuries, right? SGA is getting overworked. J-Dub and Mitchell got to figure it out. I don't know if, haven't heard much. I don't think Mitchell's coming back. And J-Dub will probably come back if it's an elimination game. That's it. So, what can the Thunder do in Game 5? 2 biggest things. Stop playing Dort and Hartenstein. That's number 1. I think they need to figure out how to find 4 3-and-D guys they can put around Chet. Around Shea. Right? 4 3-and-D guys. What I mean by that is like almost all their lineups and rotations have either shooting and guys that struggle on defense like McCain and Joe. Or they have lockdown defenders that are physical like Dort and Caruso that struggle to shoot. They need to figure out how to find a consistent 8-man, not 12-man deep, 8-man rotation that's probably going to end up being Heinrich Williams. I don't know if you say Heinrich like I don't know. But Kenrick Williams, Aaron Wiggins, Joe, Wallace, McCain. Like, I don't think Dort, I don't think Hartenstein should be seeing many minutes. But this is going to depend. This is their second biggest question. Lean into it. This is going to depend on Chet leveling up. Chet has to be a 2-way all NBA defense player like he was voted in. I mean, if he can't guard Wemby, then they need Jay Will to play, which he probably will anyways, but then they need Hartenstein to play, right? Just because they need the size and the rebounding. Wemby's rebound hit 24 rebounds in game 1 when they tried to go small. So it's going to come down to Chet. Can Chet rebound? Can Chet man up and take the matchup and take the rivalry that's there, right? He has a chance to, have one. He only needs one good game, one big game against Wemby, and then, that could literally be it. That could be the difference maker in the series. So, and if he can step up and knock down some threes, help them run a small ball lineup, right, with some shooters, let SGA spread it out, ISO. Well, then when they double him late, he can kick it out late. They can knock down a 3. Right, you don't need any secondary playmaking. They need, McCain's going to have to hit some shots. Joe's going to have to hit some shots. Wiggins going to have to hit some shots. I think he went 2 for 11 last game. 0 for 9 from 3, 0 for 7. Going to have to hit some shots. And then I think Thunder are going to have to, and this is crazy to say this because they're the number 1 seed, won the championship last year. But they do feel like the underdog right now because they're missing J-Dub, they're missing Mitchell. SGA is going to have a big game, a legacy game. I don't know if it's this game. I don't know if it's if they lose this game and it's game 6, it's game 7. They're going to need a 40-piece, a masterpiece, a 30 and 10, a MVP, a 2-time MVP game from SGA in order to get out of the series, to be honest. And then for the Spurs, I think they're a little bit simple. They have an established they're healthy right now, and sometimes that's all it is. They got their big 3, big 4 with Fox/Harper. And I told my brother 2 weeks ago, not to flex, 2 weeks ago, that I would be starting Harper over Fox right now. And they was telling me I was crazy, but Harper is kind of showing that, especially in game one. I think game one was his arrival game. 25 points, 11 boards. He's so big. He's such a good defender to guard SGA, right? To guard AJ Mitchell when he's playing, to pressure McCain. He at times when the second units are out there, he looks like the best player on the floor in the Western Conference Finals, and he's a rookie. And so I get why they're not starting him because they brought in Fox this reason for this season, right? And it hasn't not worked, right? So I do think Fox will start this game again, but I am interested to see who will close the game, right? I don't know if, right, in game four, Harper was plus 25 in 20 minutes. Fox was, let me see, -3 in 30 minutes. And I don't know, that's not everything. I don't care. I mean, Fox is really helping Castle out because he's taking pressure off him with a turnover. He's allowing Castle to excel in like limited role, but I don't know. I think if the game's tight at the end, it'll be interesting to see if they do Fox, Harper, and Castle. Then they go Wemby and Vassell or Wemby and Champagny. They'll probably go Wemby, Vassell, and maybe the three guards. But I don't know. That's probably safe. Maybe Champagny in there and they'll sit Fox. If Fox is having a bad game, I would not be surprised if Fox gets benched for Harper in the fourth. In that sort of scenario, depending on what the Thunder do. But other thing besides Fox having to step up and have a good game. I mean, I'm a big Fox. I mean, you see, I got the Fox jersey here, like signed, no flex, but he hasn't had a staple playoff game in his career. So it would be interesting if Fox could kind of show up game 5 or game 6 and like prove like, okay, I'm validated. This is why they trade for me. I'm staying in the future, even if I'm moving to a smaller role. Like I'm gonna be versus, maybe he gets moved if he doesn't show up. Um Other thing, which is slowly developing, I feel like I'm talking about a lot, is Castle. Castle's two-way play is going to be everything in this next game and in game 6 and 7 because, like I said, if he can outplay, and I say outplay, but sort of mitigate Shea and mitigate his own turnovers, then this series is a wrap. I mean, if you look at, I mean, the only thing I'm worried about, and this is valid worry, this is what the Thunder probably sent their tapes, right? And I'm sure San Antonio is lobbying that Shea's flopping and I'm flopping. I'm sure Thunder are lobbying for some foul calls, right? Stephon Castle probably had like 10 fouls. He got 5 fouls in that game, but he had 5 fouls at home. He's probably going to foul out in OKC, so he's probably going to foul out. I'm already prepared for that. If he cannot foul out, he needs to keep his fouls down. If he cannot foul out, and if he can not turn the ball over, that is the key for the Spurs. He takes care of the ball, keeps their turnovers down, keeps their offensive efficiency up, right? And keeps the Thunder just playing in the half court, playing against Wemby, shooting these deep threes, right? Maybe they get hot, maybe Caruso scores 30 again, but that you can live with versus the Thunder playing their game, which is 20 turnovers, bunch of points off turnovers, momentum, crowd getting into it, right? Timeouts from Mitch Johnson. That's not what you want. So I expect, and another thing on that is Spurs did this too in game 4. It's huge. And they kind of did in game 1 too, is they got a lead in the first half. And that really allows you to play physical in the second half. Because you're not worried much about getting the bonus, right? You don't have to play from behind. You don't have to worry about the other team slowing down and shooting free throws and just kind of controlling the game. You can play more aggressive. You can bully Shea. You can keep them from getting going once you build up that lead. So if they fall behind, Stephon Castle might kind of spiral. I mean, they kind of go as he goes. Wemby's kind of been good every game. Wemby's been solid every game. He's been kind of even keel, and they've kind of won and lost games. Steph Castle's been kind of there. They go as he goes. If he's having a down game, you kind of see it. You feel it. He's reckless. He's turned the ball, and I love Steph Castle. He gets downhill. But they kind of go as he goes, which is interesting, And if he brings it, if he's taking care of the ball and he's a defensive stopper on Shea, this is going to be a tough game for the Thunder. Last thing, coming back, the big fella. Wembenyama. I think he's gonna just. This is his game. This is his game five. This is his masterpiece, right? Because I think most people are gonna take the Spurs over the Knicks, even though the Knicks beat them. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. Even though the Knicks beat them, but this will be, especially with that game one shot, right, from 40 feet deep, and the performance. If they win this game five, right, Wemby shows up, gets the job done. This will be kind of iconic, right, and kind of MJ over Karl Malone, MJ over Charles Barkley, right? That like MVP spite, but he's so young doing it. Just haven't seen it. It does remind me of LeBron over the Pistons, right? This could be his, game five, LeBron over the Pistons, getting the crown, right? Because it was at the Palace. I just think this could be Wemby's moment where he kind of excels, he elevates. We remember this as his. LeBron went on to lose the Spurs, and maybe Wemby will lose the Knicks, but this could be his LeBron moment as a youngin. Key to that. Key to Wemby taking off. Got some stats for you. 2 games the Spurs lost. Games 2 and 3. Wemby played well. 8 for 16 from 2, 3 for 7 from 3, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. 8. Game 3, other game, right? 8 for 15, about the same stat line. 2 for 5 from 3, 8 for 10 from the free throw line. Got the free throw line. Concerning part in that is 19 twos to 12 threes. I think that what happened is the Thunder pushed him out. Hartenstein got physical into him. J-Dub got physical into him. And I feel like part of that is game 1, the double overtime game. He doesn't usually play that long. I think it kind of wore him out, right? And he didn't, you see it, he didn't take as many shots in those games, right? And he kind of was relying on his other guys. And maybe they were sort of content to just win one game in OKC and come back home. But games 1 and 4, the games they won, the games Wemby dominated, right? 38 twos to 9 threes. That's a ratio you want. That is a Kevin Durant meets Shaq / meets, Hakeem Olajuwon combo that you want. You don't want your 7'5" big man shooting that many threes, especially when the Thunder don't have a big guy that can guard him. The lob is there every time on the roll. In game 4, he got back to the roll threat. He got back to dominating in the things that he knows, right? Getting to his spots. The 2 things he does that nobody can stop is he sets the screen and rolls, and Steph Castle or whoever the guard is kind of just holds the ball, fakes the floater, and then throws a lob, right? And he dunks it. Or he can, and even if he misses it, he grabs it and dunks it back. The other thing is he can just catch it at the top of the free throw line, like Dirk. Size up, rip through, and rise up. No one can contest his shot. It's like Kevin Durant on steroids, right? Because it's just no one. Hartenstein looks helpless out there to contest him. So I hope they just go to him more early in the 2-point range, get him dunks, get him going at the free throw line, right? The recipe is I want 15 plus twos, 10 free throws or more, right? Drawing fouls, putting pressure on the rim, forcing subs, controlling the game, right? I wouldn't even mind seeing them play through him a little bit more. He had 5 assists last game. I think he can do more of that. So I'm excited. I'm predicting Spurs win this game and win game 6 in 6, but we'll see. Should be good.